Thunderbolts ***. The asterisk is part of the official title, indicating a shadowy, perhaps unofficial nature, was released on July 5, 2025, serving as a dark, character-driven entry in the MCU that explores trauma, redemption, and the blurred lines between hero and villain. It delivered on its promise of an unconventional team dynamic and a grounded, emotionally resonant story. Thunderbolts 2025, The Weight of the Void ***. The film opens with a cold, almost detached Yelena Belova Florence Pugh on a mission in Malaysia for CIA Director Valentina Allegra de Fontaine Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yelena is dismantling an OXE Group laboratory, a covert operation linked to a superhuman project. John Walker, U.S. Agent Wyatt Russell, Ava Starr, Ghost Hannah John Kamen, and Antonia Dreykov at Taskmaster Olga Kurilenko arrive, leading to a brutal, chaotic free-for-all. She arrives at the site, attempting to capture Bob. He intervenes, rescuing Yelena, Walker, and Ava from Val's pursuing agents. Alexei, with his usual bombast and misplaced nostalgia, jokingly dubs the ragtag group the Thunderbolts. After a childhood soccer team Yelena played for that, in her words, never won a single game, Bob, in his disoriented state, creates a diversion, unintentionally drawing enemy fire. Citizens are trapped in nightmarish pocket dimensions as the city collapses into metaphysical ruin. She's pulled into a horrifying realm of her own traumatic memories, the Red Room, the loss of Natasha, betrayals. She navigates this psychological gauntlet, searching for Bob. She eventually finds him hiding in a reimagined version of his childhood bedroom, a refuge from an abusive father. The other Thunderbolts, driven by their newfound bond and a desperate need to stop the destruction, force their way into the void to join Yelena. The sheer scale of destruction is terrifying and deeply personal, reflecting the internal torment of Bob himself. And Bob arguing over an ongoing feud with Sam Wilson, who is preparing to sue them over the Avengers trademark. Just as the bickering escalates, a distress signal arrives from a mysterious extra-dimensional spacecraft marked by a glowing 4, directly setting up Fantastic Four, first steps and hinting at the larger multiverse saga conflicts to come. They trace his trauma back to the memory of his initial experimentation in Malaysia, where he had volunteered in a desperate attempt to change his life after descending into drug addiction and despair. But before they can act, she stages a masterful press conference, framing them as her personal task force, the new Avengers, the Thunderbolts, exhausted and pragmatic. Play along for now, letting her take the credit. But Yelena quietly leans in and warns her, "We own you now." The film ends with this uneasy truce, a reflection of the team's morally gray nature and their new, complicated position. The team fights the void, but it overwhelms them quickly. As Bob begins slipping away, the Thunderbolts rally around him, not to fight the physical manifestation, but to believe in Bob, to offer him genuine care and connection. Their unwavering support helps Bob fight back from within, allowing him to regain control and extinguish the void. Light returns to the city, and the trapped citizens are freed, miraculously unharmed, but with no memory of the void. Bucky, now a congressman and dedicated to making a difference through legitimate means, intends to have them testify in Val's impeachment proceedings. However, Bucky soon learns the truth about Bob's involvement in Val's experiments from Val's seemingly loyal assistant, Mel Geraldine Viswanathan, who secretly wants to bring Val down from within. Mel reveals that Bob is not just a super soldier, but the unstable carrier of a cosmic entity known as the Void, a force of pure annihilation, born from Bob's deep depression, trauma, and fractured psyche. Realizing Val's true, dangerous intentions to control and weaponize the Void, Bucky switches allegiance, freeing the team. He's riddled with bullets, but remains unharmed, then uncontrollably levitates into the sky, only to crash land back at the compound. By the time they arrive, Bob has been manipulated by Val into aligning with her. Under her orders, Bob easily overpowers the team in a spectacular display of power, but, in his confused state, chooses not to eliminate them, deeming them no longer a threat. However, the immense power of the Void begins to distort Bob's mind, inflating him with delusions of grandeur. He turns on Val, seeing himself as a true god. In a panic, Mel triggers a fail-safe kill switch embedded in Bob, which incapacitates him, but inadvertently unleashes his monstrous alter ego, the Void. He's captured and transported to the former Avengers Tower in Manhattan, now rebranded as the Watchtower. Val plans to use Bob as a PR stunt, presenting him as a new superpowered protector to salvage her public image and avoid impeachment. Val's true intention is to have them eliminate each other and themselves, tying up loose ends. In a shocking and brutal moment, Taskmaster, after a brief, tense interaction, is abruptly killed by Ghost. This early, unexpected death immediately signals the film's darker tone and high stakes. Val, facing imminent impeachment due to her shady dealings, is desperately erasing any trace of her involvement. Yelena is clearly struggling with an existential crisis, weighed down by her past as a Black Widow and the grief of losing Natasha. Unbeknownst to Yelena, Val has dispatched several other morally gray operatives to the same location, not for a cleanup, but as a suicide mission. Amidst the carnage, a bewildered and seemingly harmless man named Bob Reynolds Lewis Pullman emerges from a suspended animation pod. He's amnesiac and terrified, a survivor of OXE Group's super soldier experiments, effectively a proto-sentry. When Yelena and Walker accidentally come into physical contact with Bob, they experience horrifying, fragmented visions of their own traumatic pasts, hinting at the powerful, dark entity lurking within Bob. Yelena, observing his dazed state and the effect he has, chillingly dubs him the Void. Val learns that her target survived, and that Bob, presumed dead, is now active. Meanwhile, Alexei Shostakov's Red Guardian David Harbour, who has been working as a freelance chauffeur, overhears snippets of Val's plot. Their pursuit by Val's forces leads to a kinetic car chase sequence, during which they are unexpectedly apprehended by Bucky Barnes, Sebastian Stan. The Thunderbolts head to New York to infiltrate the Watchtower, now serving as Val's central command. The Void, a swirling black storm of supernatural darkness, begins consuming New York City. Knowing the only solution lies within Bob, Yelena bravely enters the darkness of the Void's mindscape. Together, they confront the Void, a monstrous embodiment of Bob's darkest thoughts and experiences. With the threat neutralized, the Thunderbolts move to apprehend Val. In a mid-credit scene, Red Guardian, now groomed and seemingly much happier, attempts to get people to buy Wheaties boxes with the new Avengers on them, comically trying to regain some celebrity. The post-credit scene shows the newly formed New Avengers, the Thunderbolts.